A rusted weighing scale sits in the corner of an old Indian home. On one side, gold coins. On the other, a threadbare scroll, ancient, unreadable, but heavy with meaning. You add more coins and the scale tips wildly. Stack only scrolls and the whole thing collapses. What's the real cost of chasing just one kind of fulfillment? Why does even doing the right thing sometimes feel at odds with being happy, wealthy, or at peace? This contradiction puzzled minds thousands of years before modern work-life balance was even a phrase. In the Vedic tradition, the householder's life, grihastha ashram, stands not on one foundation, but four: Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. These aren't commandments, but living principles. Each is tempting to claim as the most important, but the genius of this wisdom lies in how they pull against and inform each other. How a meaningful life is not about purity of one pillar, but balance across all four. You might have heard these words before, muddled as religion, duty, money, or even as things to avoid. But to really understand them, you need to see how they work together. Why neglecting any one leads to the same emptiness as neglecting all. By the end of this video, you'll have a simple, ancient map to help you decide what to do when life's demands collide. If you're looking for a way to live with fewer regrets and more clarity, this is for you. Take Dharma. Most translations call it duty or religion, but those words only scratch the surface. Dharma is your compass for what's right, but it isn't a rigid law. It's ethics, responsibility, and context all woven together. Sometimes your moral dharma, say never to harm, competes with your family dharma, like defending loved ones in danger. There is no universal rulebook. Each situation is a dharma sankat, an ethical crossroads. Sanatan wisdom says, context is everything. What's righteous in one setting could be wrong in another. Instead of commandments, you're given the power and burden of discernment. Now, Artha. It's usually simplified to wealth, but in the Grihastha's map, it means much more. Artha is about creating value, earning, building, providing for others. It's the pillar that lets you act on your dharma by giving you the resources to do so. Ignore Artha and your ideals remain empty promises. But pursue only Artha and life grows hollow, because money by itself can't tell you what to live for. Ancient Artha Shastras lay out how to earn and grow ethically, not just for self, but for society. On to Kama, the most misunderstood of the four. People think of passion and pleasure, often reducing it to taboo. But Kama is the force of desire in all its forms: love, creativity, the drive that colors life. In Grihastha Ashram, Kama embraces intimacy, procreation, but also the joy of music, art, and wonder. The Kama Sutra isn't just about sex, but about understanding and respecting desire. If Kama is ignored, life dries up. But if it rules you, satisfaction slips away, replaced by craving. Finally, Moksha. No English word quite fits. Call it liberation, enlightenment, freedom from the endless cycles of wanting and rebirth. Moksha is the reminder that every pursuit, ethical, material, sensual, points towards something deeper. In daily life, moksha is the quiet voice that asks, am I free or just busy? Am I more than my roles, my gains, my appetites? But here's the heart of the Grihastha path. None of these pillars is meant to stand alone. The householder's genius is not in renouncing life, but in weaving these forces together. You don't choose between wealth and ethics, between pleasure and purpose, or between worldly life and spiritual seeking. You hold the tension, and from that tension, you build a life that doesn't collapse under its own weight. Imagine you're offered a job that promises great income, but demands you compromise your principles, leaving no time for family or rest. If you only heed Artha, you're rich but restless. If you only cling to Dharma, you may reject every chance to grow. True balance means pausing, asking, does this serve my Dharma? Will it nurture or distort my Kama? Does it leave space for moksha, even in small ways? The pillars become questions, not chains. A common mistake is to think that after a certain age or stage, you must abandon Artha and Kama to focus only on Moksha, or that Dharma is about denying yourself joy. But the Grihastha path says, your daily life, family, work, laughter, struggle is not an obstacle to spiritual growth, but its proving ground. The balance is not static. Sometimes one pillar needs more attention. What matters is that none are forgotten. So how do you actually live this? Start by checking in with each pillar. When you chase a pleasure, ask, is this feeding a deep need or just a fleeting urge? As you earn or spend, notice whether your wealth upholds your values or quietly erodes them. When conflict arises, let Dharma guide you, but remember its context. And in quiet moments, tune in to Moksha's promise that freedom is found not by escaping life, but by living it with awareness. Over time, the four pillars become less like boxes to check, more like the strings of a sitar. Sometimes one sings out, sometimes another, but always in concert. The balance is never perfect, but by returning to it again and again, you keep your foundation strong. In the end, the wisdom of Grihastha is not about perfection, but about wholeness. Not about rejecting the world, but about engaging with it skillfully, so your life becomes both a house and a beacon. If this ancient map feels like what you've been searching for, subscribe for more pathways to balance and meaning. The scale is yours to tend. What will you weigh next?